The Sports Renegades podcast on SportsTownChicago.com. All right, welcome back to the Sports Renegades here on SportsTownChicago.com. I'm Ryan Stuprich.
And I'm Ryan Risky.
And we're continuing our baseball talk with the White Sox and specifically coaching staff and management now as we talk about the people that put the horrible team together.
Yeah, I mean, Rick Hahn said today that discussions with manager Robin Ventura and the coaching staff about their futures with the team will wait until the end of the season.
Of course.
Well, if you knew what you were doing, Rick, you would figure out that Robin Ventura is not the guy for the job, and you would probably fire him now because Rick Renteria would probably be a candidate, and you'd like to see him manage a few games down the stretch to help you determine who your next manager would be and see if he's a candidate.
Yeah, I don't know how many managers are up for grabs after this season.
Ron Gardenhire is still
I think they're trying to stay away from him though, just because
I think if they wanted him, they would have hired him.
Yeah, and I mean he's kind of old school, kind of new school though.
Yeah, he probably has more of the Terry Collins mentality as the manager.
Yeah, so I don't know, if the White Sox are looking for that, but yeah, I think if the White Sox were paying attention in 2014, they saw how Rick Renteria did a really nice job with that Cubs team, sort of jump-started them. Not necessarily jump-started them, but they weren't supposed to be very good, and they were competitive, especially later in the season.
And I think one of the games they were playing the Tigers earlier this year, they were losing like 7-1 in like the fourth inning. Robin Ventura Ventura got ejected, and then Rick Renteria took over as manager, and they won in extra innings.
Yeah.
And then there was... Then they're like, everyone was just tweeting at the Sox, even though they had won, fire Robin Ventura and promote Renteria. And that the third game of the Cubs series that I was at, the Cubs won 8-1. Right after Russell hit that grand slam, some Sox fan just blurted out from somewhere behind us, and he said, fire Robin bleeping Ventura.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much where you have to go. I mean, at this point, it's kind of upsetting because
first of all, he should have been fired after last year because clearly, 2013, 2014, the team was bad. He had nothing. He didn't have much to manage because he had guys like Ronald Belisario in the bullpen and Luis Garcia as his number one bench player.
Right.
I mean, he didn't have anything to manage those seasons, and he did very well in 2012. Then last year, they get him a tremendous amount of talent, get him a team that he can manage. They win, I don't remember how many games they won. It was like maybe 75, 77 games is what they won. They won only like 6 more games with the team they had last year than they did with the terrible team in 2014.
Right.
And so then it's like, okay, they're going to keep him around for another season. They get him an even better team this year, and they're just as bad.
Yeah, they are certainly just as bad. It goes back to, when you look at some of the players, you're like, how are they starters? It's just kind of embarrassing. Like, how are some of these players starters? Like, obviously, Todd Frazier is a starter. But
why does Robin Ventura still have his job? Why does Rick Hahn still have his job? Why does Kenny Williams still have his job?
And why, in the winter, did you go out and fight to get Todd Frazier? And I mean,
Brett Lawrie.
Frazier can barely hit. He hits bombs. He gets RBIs, but he's not the type of player that the Sox needed.
And a couple days after the Frazier trade, we had Paul Chiavari on, and he said he had a bad feeling the Sox were just getting a right-handed hitting Adam Dunn.
I remember that. He said that exact thing. Yeah, and it sort of turned out to be true. It's like a 2012 Adam Dunn though, but. It's like an Adam Dunn, yeah, and it's not going to get you anywhere. It's not going to get, Todd Frazier isn't the difference for, if Todd Frazier was batting .260, the Sox still wouldn't be going to the playoffs.
Right. I mean, Jose Abreu, I think before he's been hitting some home runs recently.
I mean,
he's up to 14 now, except last week he hadn't hit a home run since I think it was sometime in August. It was
he had 11, right?
He had 11 home runs, and he hadn't homered since June 27th. So he didn't homer in July when the ball should be flying out of the ballpark. He wasn't homering in August, and then it was a list that 13 White Sox players had hit a home run in between Jose Abreu's 11th and 12th home runs, and that included Anthony Renato, the pitcher.
That's embarrassing. And the
funny thing with Anthony Renato hitting that home run, there's been 2 American League pitchers to ever hit a home run at Wrigley Field. I was at both games because last year Daniel Norris in his first career at bat with the Tigers hit a monster home run off of John Lester. And
I remember that.
I remember Lester gave up like 8 runs in like 2 innings that game.
I remember, and the Cubs offense was good that day, but they couldn't
they
pitch.
hit 3 home runs that day, except the pitching. Like that was the day that James Russell came in and gave up like 5 runs in the 7th inning, and you sent out a tweet, DFA Russell right now, and then like 3 days later he got designated for assignment.
Yeah, he overstayed his welcome. I mean, talk about somebody that they were really holding on to from like 2010. Like, go away.
He was good though, from 2010 to 2014.
He was good when they were bad. That's the difference.
And then his arm kind of wore out. He was good at the beginning of 2015, except then he was just started giving up a ton of runs.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he was no Schlitter, but he was pretty
I don't think
close
anyone
to
is as bad as Brian Schlitter. I'd take Ronald Belisario over him.
Ooh, I don't know about that, but yeah, maybe. Yeah, I mean, it's just embarrassing, especially when you look at Jose Abreu, and we talked about
why does he only have 14 home runs now? I know he's definitely heated up. I think he hit 3 home runs last week.
Yeah.
Except why did he hit 0 home runs in July? That's supposed to be like one of your July and August are supposed to be like your best home run hitting months because it's warm out. The cold doesn't knock the ball down. The hot air will help the ball carry. The wind's blowing out.
Well,
and he hits in a launching pad. How did you not hit a home run in July?
And I mean, he's the first baseman in Chicago, and he was getting, and I mean, he was just as good as Anthony Rizzo, a few years ago. And I mean, Anthony Rizzo and Chris Bryant have 26 home runs or something. And
Bryant's got 27 now after his home run yesterday.
Bryant has 27, Rizzo has 26, right? Or 25 maybe, but Jose Abreu has 14. I mean, he's way off. He's never going to catch up to them.
And Frazier hasn't hit a home run since that home run that he hit against Arrieta.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. He can't. I mean, he's pretty bad. I mean, he comes up with those clutch hits and stuff, but I mean, he used to have much better averages than he's had the last few years.
Rizzo has 24 home runs.
Okay, so he still has 24.
Bryant has 27, which is 6th in the MLB, tied with Jay Bruce.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of people recently that have been hitting tons of home runs, like Arenado.
Oh, I'm sorry. Frazier did hit number 30 already. Except still, he hasn't been hitting that many. Encarnacion's been hitting a ton. Nolan Arenado now has 29. He hit 2 yesterday.
Trumbo, I think, reached 30, didn't he?
He has 31. He leads Major League Baseball. The one guy I'm stunned that is hitting so well is Mike Napoli.
Right.
Hit 28 home runs, where before he was hitting the past couple of seasons he's been hitting like 230 with 15 homers.
Now he's Cleveland Magic.
Now he's hitting 250 with 28 home runs.
Hey, it's that Cleveland Magic. The Cavaliers won in June, and the Indians are going to win the World Series in October, right?
Yeah, and the Browns are going to win the Super Bowl with Robert Griffin.
And the Browns are winning the Super Bowl.
With Robert Griffin III as their quarterback.
Right. Oh, my God. Yeah. We'll talk about some football in our last segment, but that is just embarrassing.
Oh, my.
Some of the starting quarterbacks in the NFL.
I'm going
to
say something, and you're not going to believe me when I say it.
Okay.
Marcus Semien has 23 home runs.
No way.
I'm not even kidding.
I know he hit one yesterday, but
he
unbelievable.
Has 23 home runs. That's more than Yoenis Cespedes.
Yeah, that I can't believe.
Marcus Semien has 23 home runs.
Talk about another bad deal the White Sox made when they got rid of
Semien
Fegley and Semien, right? And the same deal. Who did they get?
Samardzija.
Oh. Hey, that one worked out well, didn't it? No. I don't think so. We're going to take an update, and then we'll wrap up this baseball talk. Sports Renegades, sportstownchicago.com.
At 5:30, I'm Ryan Risky with your SportsTownChicago.com update, brought to you by the Illinois Media School. Bear center Hronis Grasu has torn his right ACL, which unfortunately will end his season. Brian Mattis has cleared waivers and will report to AAA Iowa after being designated for assignment on August 1st by the Cubs. White Sox General Manager Rick Hahn said that discussions with Robin Ventura and the coaching staff about their futures with the team will wait until the end of the season. Ventura is in the final season on his current contract. Ichiro tripled yesterday for his 3,000th career hit, making him just the 30th player in MLB history to reach 3,000 career hits. Clayton Kershaw has resumed throwing and is targeting a return in September. This has been your SportsTownChicago.com update, brought to you by the Illinois Media School. For more information on a career in media, visit beonair.com. All
right, welcome back to the Sports Renegades on SportsTownChicago.com. I'm Ryan Stuprich.
And I'm Ryan Risky.
We're just going to wrap up sort of our baseball talk for the Cubs and the White Sox. We were talking specifically about the White Sox and Jose Abreu and, how come his power is gone? Like, where did it go? Is it hiding somewhere? I mean, did Drake LaRoche take it with him? I mean, where
did Drake LaRoche take it with him?
I mean, where is Jose Abreu? Like, he's not playing well.
I mean, that's a good point because his rookie year he hit 36. Last year he hit 30, and he has 14 on August 8th.
Yeah, he might not get to 20.
Yes, and speaking of guys with 20 home runs, Brad Miller on Tampa Bay has 20.
Really?
I couldn't believe. That's so hard to believe because last year in 438 at-bats he hit 11. In the previous year, 2014, at 367 at-bats.
I think
he hit 10. And this year in 365 at-bats he has 20. And he was one of the key players they got in return for David Price. They got Drew Smyly, Brad Miller, and Willie Adams, who's a shortstop prospect.
Yeah. I mean, Tampa Bay is bad this year, like really bad. But
it's they kind of
good in a
amazing
couple
seeing
years.
how many all these guys that have 20 home runs this year.
Yeah, and I mean, Adam Eaton has like 11 or 12 home runs. He almost has as much as Abreu. As your first baseman, and
I think
Adam Eaton.
I think Adam Eaton was second on the team in home runs last year.
Right, and a fun fact about Adam Eaton: I've seen him hit one home run each in the last 3 seasons, which is pretty crazy.
So you were at the game 2 years ago when he hit his only home run.
In 2014.
Yeah.
It was
hit one.
It was against the Indians or something. It was like in April. Something like that. I did see his one home run. I went with my brother and my friend Mark and his sister.
I know you and I saw him hit a home run last April too.
Yeah, we did. Or I think that was May maybe, but yeah.
Another crazy stat. You know, Jose Altuve is hitting like 360.
Yeah.
Yeah, he also has 19 home runs.
Boom.
I think that's the AL MVP right there.
He's definitely leading. I saw on MLB Network. They were just talking about all his stats and just how good he is, and especially for being like 5'6" or 5'7".
I think he's 5'4" or 5'5".
Yeah, he is so short, but he is just the prototypical fundamental baseball player.
And he steals like 40 bases too.
Yeah, I know. He's like a mini version of Mike Trout.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's not as good as Mike Trout.
Right. He's getting there.
That is very, very true. He's getting there, and especially if the Astros make the playoffs, that's your AL MVP right there. I mean, 360 average, 19 home runs. Here, let's see how many stolen bases he's got. I mean, it is ridiculous. Like whoever picked him in fantasy has to be like, in awe. Right now he's got a 356 average, 19 home runs, 67 RBIs, and 25 stolen bases.
Wow. I mean, that's pretty crazy.
Now let's get into more advanced, like his on-base percentage. His on-base percentage is .423.
Mm-hmm.
He has walked 48 times.
Wow.
He has struck out 49 times.
So he doesn't strike out too much.
And he walks a lot. He gets a lot of hits. He's got 29 doubles, 3 triples.
I think it was last week he hit
155 hits.
I think last week he hit just some monster home run. It went up near their train tracks.
The train tracks, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean that's just crazy.
I mean, especially even if the Astros barely missed the playoffs, that's still probably the AL MVP right there.
I think every year, I mean, that's kind of the team to beat in the AL West, either them or Texas.
I mean, the Rangers have been very good too.
Yeah, they have a lot of good young talent. So does Houston, and so and I mean, Oakland has young talent. They just haven't put it together yet. The Angels are bad, and you're
bad if you get designated for assignment on the Angels. But Tim Lincecum had a 9.15 ERA and 8 starts, and they designated him for assignment. So.
Yeah, pretty embarrassing.
Yes. Anyways, we'll continue more baseball talk after this timeout. So you're listening to the Sports Renegades on SportsTownChicago.com.
The Sports Renegades podcast on SportsTownChicago.com.